Hey everybody, and welcome to Stock Abilities. Today I'm going to be covering the Naked Brand Group. I've covered this numerous times before, so make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you want to check out those videos in the playlist. Now, there's been a lot of frustration lately on waiting for the merger, and it's been going up and down, off and on here for the last week. It's not really going down, not really going up, but there's been some updates today about the amended offering. Now, a lot of people might see that as bad news. I kind of see it as a good thing, and I'm going to tell you guys why in this video. Now, of course, here's the two new filings. You got the 8K and the 424B5, and 8K is usually basically major announcements, and the major announcement in this case was an increase of $500,000 worth of shares of the common stock. Offering will include, of course, dilution. Dilution, in this case, is sort of a bad thing, but it's only 500,000. Now that sounds like a lot, but if you look overall, it was a 5 million up to 5.5. To me, this seems more like a salary pay. It's just speculation here. There's no, of course, verification in the filings for that, but there's really not much of a budget they can get out of a 500,000 that they haven't already out of the 5 million. And of course, something else to consider here to further support this, Carol Hotchman will be offered employment with the new co pursuant to an employment agreement on substantially the same terms as set forth on Exhibit A. Additionally, key employees of Bendon will be employed by NewCo at the discretion of Bendon. That in itself seems a little interesting. Then you go a little bit further here, and she got the stock options, but there's another person that was awarded stock options as well, which is not mentioned in the filing, but is mentioned in a follow-up filing for the insider buy-in. So you could check that out from one of the new Form 4s here right before these announcements. I covered it in my other video a little bit more detail, so check that out. Going a little bit further, pursuant to General Instruction IB6 of Form S3, in no event will we sell securities registered on this registration statement in a public primary offering with a value exceeding more than 1/3 of the aggregate market value of our voting and non-voting common equity held by non-affiliates in any 12-month period, so long as our public float remains below 75 million. So, of course, they can only dilute up to a certain point. They dilute too strongly, and they can lose their potential compliance, and they don't obviously want to risk that, so they're going to keep it at about where it's at. They're not going to heavily dilute things. You might see it go down to 220 at most, but keep in mind the insider buy-ins are at 2.14, $2.14. So anything above that, and you're pretty much good to go. If you're in there below 2.14, you have a pretty solid position. Going a little bit further here, these I found were interesting. You have 3.4 million shares of common stocks issuable upon the exercise of outstanding options, and the exercise price is $387, of which 3 million options are vested as of March 29th. You got March 29th down here, and you got March 29th here. You got an incentive plan as of March 29th from a 2014 equity incentive plan that they came up with. I don't know about all the details on that, but equity incentive plans are usually seen as a good thing. Now you got the 5.29 per share of warrants, which are generally seen as a bad thing, but at the same time, look at the exercise prices. You got 387, you got 529. So in order to achieve these, you're going to need a higher stock price in order to obtain that. Notice these are common stock issuable. This isn't just some kind of buried in there in between stock. This is the common stock on the live market. Going a little bit further, I found this interesting read here. Our bylaws provide that 1/3, 33% of the votes entitled to be cast on a matter by the stockholders constitutes a quorum of the stockholders for action on that matter. Our bylaws also provide any action required or permitted to be taken in a meeting of the stockholders may be taken without a meeting if one or more of the written consents setting forth the action shall be taken or signed either manually or by in facsimile, the stockholders by at least the majority of the vote entitled to cast at a meeting Now, of course, I interpret this as once they get the definitive agreement, if they agree through a signed agreement, they can bypass the voting time altogether, and it might go hand in hand with the two. So they might file something for the definitive merger or agreement, and then on top of that, they're going to do the vote at the very same time, and that's going to go through really quick. So keep this in mind. There might be a rush for a pump, and you might be expecting two different filings, but these might come hand in hand in the same filing. Of course, with any merger, this is the risk that they cover. They updated this a little bit more. The actual or anticipated fluctuations are quarterly or annually. Annual operating results are cash position, announcements, etc., etc. You can read this in their Form 424B5. There's getting less and less risk as it comes closer to the date, and there isn't any reason why they don't want to go through with the merger. I don't see any risk involved at this point. Of course, earlier there was. I mean, there's always risk. You never know what could happen. But if you listen to the Roth conference, as I covered in another video, you'll be pretty confident in regards to them going through with the merger. They seem pretty excited about it. I don't see any doubt in my mind. They've had planned this for months and years. Keep in mind that if Bendon and Naked for some reason don't merge, Bendon's going to have to spend years breaking into the U.S. market. That's millions of dollars. And on top of that, they have to do a IPO, and IPOs take a lot of time. That's why they want to go through with this reverse merger in particular. Thanks for listening in. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and share it with other people if you want to help them out. Don't forget to comment below if you have any other input, and have a nice day.